This is a quick video to show you how to bring in the Moon and Bats Halloween belly box and make it so that every piece will cut from A4 or smaller. There's just, I think, perhaps one piece in this one where DS tells you it won't work, but it will. So let's go ahead and bring that in. There it is. Okay, so as with all my SVGs, if we look over here in the layers panel, the score lines are usually in that top group, so I'm going to click on that top group and go over to the operations menu, click on basic cut, go down to score, and it changes those lines to score. Now the frustrating thing about Design Space is it makes all lines black, so even though I've set this up as a different colour in my SVG, you can't see it against the black of the piece. If I click, oh well, let's do it the right way. So we've converted that to scores. Now I select all the cut pieces on screen and I ungroup them, and then I select the whole SVG and I ungroup it. So remember always those three ungroups with any SVG where you've got more than one set of score lines. Right, so what I was saying about this piece is you can't see the score lines on top of it. So if I select the actual piece and just change it to a different colour, you can see that the score lines are there, and so now we would need to attach those score lines to that piece. Simplest way to do that is to click on screen, drag an imaginary box around the piece, or at least over most of it, back to the layers panel and choose attach from the bottom. But of course we actually do want that piece to be black and not green, or to cut from black and not green, should I say. So we'll put it back to black. Now you know that those lines are there, and they are attached because when you move it around, nothing gets left behind. Okay, so in theory we're good to go. We'll press make it and see what happens. So this top one, we can choose A4, so that's fine. And we get a piece for the backboard, and it's given us the main box on another piece and a few bats on another piece. Right, so I want to be able to cut everything from A4, but when I click on this piece that's got the main box section on it, A4 is not in my drop down list. So what I'm going to do, press cancel there, I'm going to change the colour of this main box so that it prints on a mat on its own. So I select just the piece and I change it to any colour, it doesn't matter. You're still going to cut that from black or whatever colour you want, but in my case it's black. You're still going to cut that from whatever kind of card you want. We've just changed the colour so it ends up on a mat on its own. So now we click make it, and there it is. If I click on that mat, I still can't choose A4, and that's because Design Space thinks this is too big to cut from A4, but it's not. So you're just going to leave the setting as it is, 30.5 by 30.5 or 12 by 12 as we tend to call it. But when you position your A4 sheet on the mat, you're going to do it landscape, so it covers this top half of the mat. You're just going to drop the top left hand corner down 4 or 5 millimeters so that this piece actually will fit on A4. So leave it on that setting, just move your paper, don't tuck it right into that top corner, drop it over and down and everything will fit. Now with this one we can choose A4 because that definitely fits, so you end up with that on its own, and then you end up with the bats on one on their own. If you're cutting this from a scrap, just remember that you don't have to leave things on the mat where they are. You can, that one won't fit, but that one will. You can move them around so that it fits from as small a piece as you've got. So you can really scrunch those together if you need to. You don't have to leave it on the mat where DS. You can even, might get a hold of that, you can even rotate it a bit if you need to make it fit on the scrap of paper that you've got. I think that's worth knowing. Everything else will go on A4. Let's just make sure. Yeah, the moon definitely will. And we've already talked about that one. Yeah, so that's that. Okay, thank you.